Hello, people. It's me again. How y'all doing? It's Friday. I hope your 5 senses work. Health and strength is good in this pandemic world. What? We talking the Steam Deck here. Okay, we got another article to talk about here. It's talking about the updating the UI for the Steam Deck controller. Okay. It says here, Valve update Counter-Strike CSGO controller UI for Steam Deck. But is it good? You know what? A little update can help. Updates are good. That let you know that things are still alive here. But anyway, it says the Steam Deck is set to be a big deal, that resulting in some big update to Valve's own game, Counter-Strike Global Offensive included. In a stealth update that wasn't published on the game official blog, Valve heavily overhauled Counter-Strike Go controller support. While it's still messily implemented and doesn't work intuitively, even with popular controller models, the pieces are in place for a nice experience for Steam Deck users. Whoa! Yeah, Steam Deck fans, you guys are getting spoiled like the Xbox fans. Anyway, says here, this follows Valve's MOBA hit title Dota 2 suddenly receiving experimental controller support as well. See, I told you they were working on that infrastructure. Anyway, infrastructure, yeah. Anyway, so we continue here. Says here, the biggest addition to the game is an improved by menu. Players can press the face button to bring up each menu page and use the stick to highlight items. From there, if they let go of the button, the item will be purchased. It's an elegant step up that works well and will show players to quickly buy up an entire kit, including guns, armor, utility, once they're comfortable with the layout. Yeah, see, improvements is good, man. Make things better. Anyway, alongside the Steam Deck focus improvements for Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Steam Deck UI updates have been added for Team Fortress 2, Left 4 Dead 2, and Portal 2. You guys are getting spoiled. Anyway, odds are that it will be rolled out for the rest of Valve games catalog and other publishers as well. Ooh, you guys are getting spoiled. Anyway, it says here, can you play Counter-Strike Global Offensive with a controller? Counter-Strike Global Offensive can be played with a controller, but it isn't recommended. Counter-Strike Global Offensive simply doesn't control well when using a controller. Keyboard and mouse is the most commonly used input method for almost every competitively played first-person shooter. Facts. Quake players can attest to that. Quake 3 players. Anyway, there's no doubt that skill pad players can do good work with a controller, but the exact motion made possible by mouse controller are hard to overcome. Sorry about that. And even bigger problems with controller in Counter-Strike Global Offensive is how dunky and intuitive Valve controller overlay is. The default controller layout for Counter-Strike Global Offensive isn't remotely similar to what exists in other first-person shooters, with weapons changing maps to the face button and movement map to the shoulder button, which is shared with right mouse button that makes any sort of scope weapon unplayable on a controller. So I'm wondering how Counter-Strike, Call of Duty, come on, man. Anyway, it says here, on top of that, the different controller types have different layouts, and each controller seems to have its own unique problem. Nintendo Switch Pro controller has a dead full layout that doesn't resemble anything seen in other first-person shooter FPS games. Meanwhile, the PlayStation 5 controller requires players to push their R2 trigger in about 75% of the overlay in order to fire, making it difficult to do anything but full-on spray. Wow. Anyway, it says here, if players want to fix these control issues, the button layouts cannot be changed in Counter-Strike Global Offensive client. Instead, it has to be done through the Steam input menu, which launches in a separate window in Steam client. This is unwieldy in its own way, while a slew of submenus and lingos that won't be immediately decipherable. The new buy menu are a huge improvement. Unfortunately, that the only element of controller support that actually works well while playing Counter-Strike Global Offensive. It's unclear if Counter-Strike Global Offensive controller woes will be fixed by Steam Deck release, but here's hoping. Look, man, I have played first-person shooters on controllers. Call of Duty works good on controllers. GoldenEye works good on controllers. Turok works good on controllers. The Unreal Tournament, Quake. But keyboard and mouse, man, will always rule. Don't get me wrong, controllers are good, but keyboard and mouse will always rule, man. When it comes to playing first-person shooters, will always rule. You know, because you get to rest, because you get, especially if you're using like a ergonomic keyboard, and you get to rest your elbows, like rest your hand on the keyboard, and then start moving your fingers, man. When it comes to first-person shooters, keyboards and mouse will always rule, man. No matter how much controller tries, man. Don't get me wrong, playing on controller is cool, but when it comes to that keyboard and mouse, and the way you turn, the way you strafe, the way you're moving, yeah, and the way you change directions, it will always rule, man. Take Quake 3 for Quake 3 Arena, or Quake Arcade if you want to call it that. The way that the speed and tempo of that game, man, requires a keyboard and mouse. Based on how fast the computer is moving, and how fast your opponent, your teammate or opponents are moving, man. Those when it comes to first-person shooters, it's fast, it's up tempo, and it's quick, man. And keyboard and mouse will always rule in that area, man. Always, you know. And then when you're playing it on PCs, we know consoles are limited. PC, you can push you can build your PC to how powerful you want it, and that makes your game, the speed of the game even more faster now. You know, so keyboard and mouse is cool. When it comes to the Steam Deck, this is good news. When it comes to the Steam Deck, this is good news, because now you got your Steam Deck connected to your TV, and all you do is take a keyboard and mouse and connect it to the Steam Deck, and then you're good to go. So this update now really help PC players, and really help Steam Deck users. So and that means like any first-person shooter you play, the response will be like this. Yeah. So this was good news from Valve, man, when they're updating their controllers and keyboard layouts and stuff like that. You know, this was good news. So when it comes to first-person shooters, man, it's always keyboard and mouse. Now, some people will love playing on controllers, but when you play on a keyboard and mouse, man, and you're resting your hands, and all you're doing is just moving your fingers and turning and moving, and yeah, it's relaxing, man. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, controllers are still good, but keyboard and mouse. That's why Microsoft, you know, when they're on Xbox, they have keyboard and mouse support. You know, they did that too for the Xbox One. Because that's the way that's where y'all first person. Because when you're playing video games, man, especially like first person shooters, you need a keyboard. I mean, controllers are good, but keyboard and mouse, yeah. So but for the Steam Deck now, this was good because this was right on time. Now that the Steam Deck is like the Steam Deck is on time to be released in February. So this was good news. This was good. This was a good update in the nick of time, you know. So when the Steam Deck comes out and then people get it and they got it, they're playing it. They're playing it. They don't have a problem, you know, with their keyboard and mouse, man. So yeah, updates are good, man. Yep. And if you play Quake 3 or Unreal Tournament, keyboard and mouse rules, man. If you're playing Dota, if you're playing World of Warcraft, keyboard and mouse, yeah, keyboard and mouse rules, man. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, controllers are good. Controllers are good. They're good for a lot of games. But when it comes to that first-person shooter, man, keyboard and mouse. Anyway, leave this video for y'all to enjoy with the article. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still a Star Wars and StarCraft thing. Board dissection. Go. Peace.